How's it going, Facebook?
Hey,
It's
Facebook.
Tim Brown and
Tracy Kelly.
today we are talking about 5-star reviews and how to get more. So you likely know already that 5-star reviews are important, so we're not going to talk about that. If you already know how to get 5-star reviews, then this probably won't be the live for you. But if you understand that they're important and you need more of them, this is going to be the perfect live for you. So Google, is pretty important in the 5-star review land. And one of the main things is that 80% of consumers surveyed said that they would not trust anything rated lower than a 4-star. Ooh. How often do you go to a restaurant that says 3.2 stars? Maybe if it's like the hotel restaurant and you gotta have some food, but whopping 94% of people say that a negative online review has driven them away from a business.
Absolutely.
A negative review. One negative review? Jeez.
That's what that negative review says, I'm sure.
Yeah, if it looks like a personal vendetta, maybe it's less likely to do something, but we've all read that review that's like, all right, I don't really want to go to a place that has bugs in their food or something like that, right? Yeah. So the star rating matters, but how do you get more 5-star reviews? So this is coming from a company. We have 43 5-star reviews. And yes, it took a long time to get those 5-star reviews. I guess my company has been out in some shape or form on Google for like 7 years. Wow. 7 years. So it took a long time, but we've spent a lot of effort on that. So if you're trying to get more 5-star reviews, here's my first thing. Ask in person. So if you can ask in person, or you can email with a very heartfelt request. That to me is very powerful. I'll just out myself here and say, I've given a little bit of an intense emotional request for 5-star reviews because I know how much it matters to our business. And simply we just say that. In our case, we're working with other businesses and they understand. Yeah. But how would you ask if you're asking for, hey, could you leave a review?
Yeah. Well, especially, people that we work with understand the value of looking good online. And so just demonstrating, saying, look, you know how important reviews are to looking good on Google. And we both know that the results have been pretty good. I mean, yeah, people that we work with tend to have really good results. So if you think it would be beneficial, leave us a review. Let me make it really easy. Let me send you the link to our Google reviews page and just, tell people what your experience was like. And I think from my experience, Tim, usually we don't necessarily have to solicit this. It's usually somebody's come to us and said, oh, you guys have done a really good job, really appreciate it. And that's usually a really good opening to say, hey, don't just tell me that. Why don't you, put it out there and tell the world that, tell the next potential customer that.
Yeah, and I think that that's when somebody's had a good experience, right? Absolutely. I'm not gonna say no one's ever had a bad experience with us, but there's when somebody's had a very good experience and you can say, hey, please, could I get that review? And I really do think I appreciate what you're saying, but I really do think you have to be proactive about this. Absolutely. People that I know that have not been kind of heartfelt about the request don't seem to have as good as results. If you just ask kind of in passing, hey, yeah, it would be great if you left a 5-star review, it doesn't work that well. Also, okay, so there's always these services, and maybe you've been pitched them before, like people are cold calling you or something like that. And we like some of these services. I think the best one out there that I've seen is Podium, which uses text messages to do customer service, and it asks for 5-star reviews. We've seen good results with that service, but here's the problem with these services is if you use a service to get more 5-star reviews, they may have a method in there, like they ask for what your experience has been, positive or negative, and then they'll switch the response based on that. They'll say, if you've had a positive experience, here's a way to leave 5-star reviews. And if you've had a negative experience, please give us personal feedback. And Google keeps on systematically getting rid of these services because essentially it goes against their privacy policy. It goes against their terms of service, I mean. So they essentially are trying to get rid of these on a regular basis. So what will always do the best is a personal request. And if you have a personal request, then yes, you'll have a much better experience having people actually leave you those reviews. I've seen it over and over again. I have seen some people do well with mentioning an incentive. So, a $10 gift card or a shirt or something like that. I have never personally used that kind of method. However, I have seen people use it to good results. Like I've seen a company that we worked for get 100+ reviews that way, $50 off or something like that. And I'm not going to say that that's, I think that goes against Google's terms of service as well. But if it works, go for it. And I do think that, every time you do it, I think let's talk about amplifying.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So when people leave a review, they're kind of putting themselves out there, and whether it's good, whether it's bad, I think it's super important to respond as the business owner. And feel free to share if you get a particularly good review. I mean, most of us work in service businesses where people are asking, do you have any customers that, you can send me to? And it's tough to always send your customers' information to everybody you talk to, but it's very easy to say, go look at our reviews, look these people up, they're real people. And so getting the word out that, you are a referable business and people refer you is huge.
So you can literally just screenshot that review on Google and then share it around on your social platforms. Okay. Or, we put a little time to design something that looks nice that kind of features the key quote from the review, and then we share it on social media. So we actually spend a little bit of time to make it look nice.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about surprise and delight, and you can talk about, somebody that has reviewed us before without even being a customer. So
sure.
Surprise and delight for us, we just make an effort every once in a while to go above and beyond even what we've agreed to with clients, simply for the fact that we know that surprising and delighting customers is much more likely to lead to that kind of 5-star review. So when you have something that's like kind of over the top happen to you at some place, you're much more likely to be able to spend the time to leave a review. Otherwise, it doesn't, even if it's a good service, good meal, good, time being at the hairstylist or something like that, it's like, okay, but I don't really feel motivated. So like every once in a while, just doing something kind of over the top for your customer, I think is very smart, and should be worked into your general habits.
Absolutely. So yeah, Tim alluded to this earlier, and I think it goes back to the social share. So we had, I got an email one day from somebody who found us online, and it became apparent pretty quickly after we started talking that we weren't going to be the right fit. It just wasn't the right type of business for us. And I listened and kind of brainstormed some different ideas for this person, and made a few phone calls on her behalf, and found 2 people for her to reach out, contact, and she ended up working with one of them. And after that experience, after treating her with respect, getting, surprising, delighting, I guess, she ended up writing a review. She gave us a 5-star review, and she didn't even end up working with us. And, I took a screenshot of that because it's so unexpected and unusual. And I put that out on LinkedIn, and that was my number so far today.
It got like 5,000 views on it just from putting out and the thing is we referred that business somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we didn't even get to the point where we were able to provide 5-star service. We just provided 5-star customer service on the front end without even working with that customer. And I think that, that speaks well to how to talk to people, but also how to talk to people when you answer the phone, because I know that Tracy probably gets exhausted of answering the phone, especially with all the spam calls, especially with a bunch of kind of people that are just looking for a price quote really quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of stuff wears on you, and it's very easy to at that point answer the phone and be like, yes. I've heard people do that at a previous company that I worked at, and literally saw a review come in that was negative just about that, which isn't fair, right? They didn't receive our service, but it happened nonetheless. And I do think that, in today's economy, we know how much these 5-star reviews matter and affect your business. Absolutely. It's a pretty big deal if you get a negative review. So just be ahead of it, get a bunch of positive ones. There's a point to the fact that people don't think that this is that important, because especially if there's like 1 or 2 reviews, they're like, that's not a big deal. But it does become a big deal really quickly when you get that first negative one and it goes down to 3.2, even though you only have 4 reviews, right? So it's not, you may not have them right now, but it does matter. So get ahead of it by getting a bunch of positive reviews, asking for them in person, writing a heartfelt email, that kind of thing. If you've ever did business or did not do business based on reviews, leave a comment in the chat here below. I'm just curious, are people still making decisions based on these reviews? I don't know. I know I am, but how about you? How is your experience with this? And if you have any tips about how to get another 5-star review this week, share it with your fellow business owners and people working in service-based companies below, so we can help people out. And I appreciate you guys so much for joining us for Monday Morning Marketing and Coffee.
Thank you.
And do a little bit more of what you love this week. Stay energized, and talk to you guys next week.
Make a great week, everybody.
Bye.